Okay, so you are in Gainesville right now, right?
I am. Yeah.
With everything going on with, I can't even know where to start with everything 2020 has brought, you are going to tell us all about what it's like to plan a wedding. And give me just all the details of like how he did it. Was this affected by COVID? Was it not affected before? Tell us everything.
So long story short, we got engaged in 2018.
Oh, wow.
So we have been planning our wedding for almost 2 years. And everything was great, like really excited. Like, of course, like there's a lot of like joy surrounding like getting married. So when COVID hit, it was like, I distinctly remember talking to two of my bridesmaids who are like two of my best friends. And we were having this conversation. It was like March. And I was like, hey, I'm actually getting sent home from work. And like, we're going to start working remotely. And this was March 13th. And I distinctly remember like talking to them and them being like, this will pass before your wedding. Don't even worry about it. Like, it's fine. And I was like, it's just a really weird timing. Like, I get this like really weird feeling that this is going to last like for a long time. Like,
Did you say the wedding, sorry if I missed this part, did you say the wedding was going to be in Florida or was it destination?
So it's still in Florida. So we're getting married at my parents' my dad's house in Umatilla. So like a little South Ocala. But yeah, so and we're getting married on Halloween. I don't know if I told you that.
No, wait, this month.
Yeah, so it's like.
So actually, when this episode drops, I think we'll be past Halloween. So you have been married when people listen to this. That's exciting to think about. Oh my God.
So we're in the like 20 something days now, like.
But who's counting?
Yeah, but who's counting? Not that it's been forever, but yeah. So I like was talking to my friends, and yeah, they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like if this is still around by October, like we're gonna be in a really bad position anyway. Like you're not even gonna be thinking about it." And so like fast forward, like things keep going. Like I'm still currently working from home, so
yeah,
which has been interesting in and of itself. Like working from home. My fiance is working from home. Like things have just been kind of crazy. So right around summertime, like June, July, we started talking about like, okay, numbers are still going up. Florida is not handling this in like the best way. We have pretty much everyone who we had a bridesmaid that like one of my bridesmaids lives in England. A couple of his like really good friends and groomsmen are in the military. And so we were like, it just seems dangerous to have everyone come here and have, 170-ish people at a wedding. But like people were still having weddings and people were like, oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. It'll be okay. Like October, things will have passed. Don't worry.
Right.
But like, I'm like very type A. Like,
well, as if there's like, not enough stress alone with just planning your perfect day. And 2 years you've had this idea. And then to have to factor in people and their health concerns and just.
Right.
Has to be.
And like comfort level, like everyone has, that's been the craziest thing is like everyone has a different comfort level here. Like some people are okay to like go out in public and not wear a mask and be fine. I'm not one of those people. Like I would rather be cautious. And on top of that, we had to make the decision of like, okay, do we have this and make the decision for everyone? Or do we just like let people decide what they're comfortable with? And I was like, for me, it came down to, say like my 88-year-old grandmother gets COVID and dies, how am I gonna feel? And I was like, I would feel horrible if anybody got it, not even if they like had really severe complications or anything like that aside. I would just feel bad if somebody got sick, like, and I would have that guilt just on me forever. And I feel like that would take the joy away. And I was like, thinking about like how you want to feel on your wedding day. Like you don't want to be stressed about like, are we doing the right thing? Are like people safe enough? Did we put enough precautions in place? So we actually decided to reduce the numbers to just immediate family and our wedding party. Because by the time we made our decision, like deposits were paid, like we had paid for everything. And I was like, I don't want to wait a whole nother year because I'm not confident that like next year is going to be much better. Like,
right.
and
You
there's
have
just
that
two
question of how long wait, because a few months you're like, okay. And then when we are in such a time where there's just so many answers we don't have, I can understand how you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've been waiting so long to marry the love of my life. Like it's happening, whether it happened the way we pictured it or not. So
Yeah.
now obviously it's coming up in 20 days. So what happened with, did you say you had an original venue or was it always going to be at your parents' house?
So it was always going to be at my parents' house. So that wasn't like an issue. Like
Thank God you
luckily,
didn't have to deal with that one because I know a lot of people are being screwed out of stuff like that.
yeah, and we do have some good friends of ours who are also getting married. Like it's kind of crazy because like all of our friends are like getting married around the same time. So we're kind of all in this together. But yeah, a lot of our friends who are getting married had like similar situations where they had to make a decision and their venues like were like, hey, you're gonna lose your deposit. So they have to make the choice. Do we have the wedding and just go for it and hopefully it's fine, or do we cancel and lose all of our deposits?
Right.
Luckily, we're working with all of the vendors that like I'm really strongly passionate about like keeping things local and like supporting people who we know. So like we knew a photographer, we know a DJ, we know different people who do have these services. So pretty much everyone we're working with we know, which made it easier because they were all really flexible and they're like, whatever you decide is fine, we'll work with you.
That's awesome. So that, yeah. So you said you're cutting it back to immediate family. So that takes you from 170, you said, to about how many now?
So it is about 35.
35. Wow.
So
you didn't already send out invitations, right? So you
I did. So we
170.
we had sent out like save the dates. We didn't send out like formal invitations yet. And then it was like time for us to send invitations and people were like bugging us like, hey, are you guys like gonna send invitations? When should I expect it? And like people knew we were getting married, knew when and where we were getting married. So and there's like the weird part, and this was like the weirdest part to explain to like our families, was like there's no blueprint for this. Like this is all we have is like what people are saying like online that they did. Mm-hmm. Like there's like, uninvitations and re-invitations and all sorts of sweets, but like so I actually like do graphic design kind of on the side. So I designed like we called it like an uninvitation. It was basically just like a standard letter to everyone that said like, hey, unfortunately, like we're really, really sorry to have to do this, but we have made the conscious decision to reduce the amount of people at our wedding to just immediate family and our wedding party. While we like understand this is a disappointment to everybody else, like we're really upset that we would have to do this. We hope to celebrate with you at a later date. And it just kind of sucks. Like, and
I feel like you handled that as well as you could have, though, and for someone to not understand would probably not someone you would have at your wedding anyways. I think most people would totally get that.
Right. And we kind of got mixed reactions. Like we got, obviously people who were very close to us that understood how we were feeling were very supportive and were like, yeah, you're probably making the right decision. Like you just got to do what you think is right. We did have some like extended family that was kind of upset and that didn't really understand why we were having to do this. And, they're on the more of the like, oh, just let people decide what they want. And
I can totally relate to the division of that and the problems it could lead to. But yeah, I think ultimately you just have to respect that everyone has different opinions. And especially when it's the couple deciding, I could see how it'd be a disappointment. But ultimately, you're gathering somewhere to celebrate the couple. So if this is what the couple is choosing to do, I think you need to support that. And hopefully we can party at a later date when it's safer for everyone, you know, hopefully.
Yeah. And that was exactly, and like, obviously, it sucks because like, it's upsetting because it took some of the like happiness out of it, because like I was like, oh, there's never another time in our lives where we're gonna have everyone we love come together in like one party. Like, I have family who lives in Boston that I am really close to that won't be able to be there, and like our friends, we probably won't ever see them like all together at once ever again. So it's just kind of like robbed that kind of like really special moment for us. But you know, I'm grateful that we get to have the wedding period. Like, I commend my fiance. He's been super supportive, even when I've been like, oh, I don't know what to do, and him been hawing over it for months of like, oh, should we do this? Are we making the right decision? And he's been super supportive through this, so it's been really great.
Do you have any plans maybe to try and have a bigger party? Is that on the radar at all?
So
After
yeah, I mean, we do want to eventually have like a bigger celebration, have everybody come. And that was part of the decision that we struggled with, because, you know, we do have so many friends that have to travel from out of state or out of the country or make like such special arrangements, that we felt bad saying like, hey, come to this, and then maybe in like a year or two come again and then celebrate the same thing over again. It just feels incredibly selfish to do that. So, and that's probably something that like I put on myself that other people don't think, but like, it's just the thought process of like, am I being selfish for wanting these people here 2 times?
it's so hard because when you put it the way you put it before about just this is the one time in your life where you get everyone that you love together in one space, that does feel like something you want to cherish and you really would be sad to not have happen. So I think a lot can happen in a year, and we've got so much wait and see going on right now with our world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really sorry you're going through this, but I hope that on the date of your wedding now you have just the best day possible that you can have. And then, you know, who knows what could happen maybe with this vaccine, and if things get better, you could even get like an after celebration, and kind of like what some of the feedback of relatives said, whoever wants to come can come. So I don't know if that would help take the pressure off you, if it's not like a you have to be there. It's just like, hey, since we built it, we're doing an after party, you know, come out.
Yeah. And like the fact that we're getting married on Halloween makes it really fun. So like in the future, if we want to have a party, we could have like a really cool party like later on. So it's not bad. And I, you know, while I am, you know, we kind of went through like the grieving process of like the wedding that we wanted to have. And, you know, it seems so silly to say, like when you like think about it and say it out loud, because, you know, you're trying to plan something in a time where there's so much hurt and like sorrow throughout the world. It feels selfish, but you know, I try to find like the good in everything and try to find the bright spot. And I'm really thankful that everybody who is coming and like everybody who has been supportive through it and like wished us well. And that we've had tons of people like send us gifts and send us cards. And it's been really nice to like see people still support, you know, the fact that like we're taking this huge step in our lives, but also like the fact that we're having our wedding and we're having so few people. It's kind of nice because it gets to be so intimate with people that we really do care about and really want to spend time with. So having fewer people will allow us to like really spend quality time with those people. So I am really grateful and like really lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah. And what you were saying before about feeling guilty sometimes when you look around the world and there's obviously so much devastation. I completely agree, where I catch myself feeling like you don't know how lucky you have it. Like, why are you complaining just because you had a shitty day? Like, you're not working on the front lines. I think that it's very natural to still, you know, it doesn't mean we're going to wake up and be so happy every day. So I just try and check in and forgive myself for not feeling 100%, even if I think I should compared to someone else, but just try and find that balance of that. I know things are worse, but I'm also allowing myself to have a bad moment, acknowledge it, and then move on, just remembering what it could be. So I think it's a human nature to be disappointed that a big event in your life is not coming to fruition the way you saw it, but to also have that optimistic outlook that it's still going to be okay. You're still with the person you love, and that's the point of it really at the end. So it's definitely a roller coaster. But speaking of roller coasters, you and your husband now working from home for what is 8 months now since you started working?
Yeah, yep, close to it, close to
Have you
8
been put
months.
to the test at all? Like, do you guys have separate rooms? How does that work? Because I see myself totally going ahead with someone if I did not have any space.
So our situation is kind of crazier than most because he predominantly travels for work. So like, you know, before COVID, he was traveling 4 days out of the week, like was gone Monday through Thursday and would be home Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So like
complete opposite.
it's not even like we were like, in the same space and then now we're both having to work from home. It was like, no, he's normally gone and like I kind of have my space and like he comes home on the weekends, which was nice, but we kind of got used to that after 5-ish years of doing that. And then both of us at home 24/7 in each other's spaces, and like I'm the natural extrovert in the relationship and he's definitely more of the introvert. So he probably has more of like oh my gosh, she drove me crazy for the first 4 months until she learned to like back off.
So for anyone who's listening, do you have any tips? What did you guys do to try and learn that new normal?
So definitely, and this is probably gonna be hard for a lot of people, like luckily we have a house and we have an office. So like when it's work time, we go to work. I have my space, he has his space. We kind of close each other off from that. And like we'll eat lunch together. Like usually we'll make lunch or like have like a afternoon like pick me up, like a coffee or a juice or something. And we find like moments to like be together, but we really try to like separate work from home life. Like when we're on a break, we take a break together or we like go for a walk with the dog. But my advice would be like to get into a routine with, if you're with your significant other or just by yourself, like having a routine really help just like cut a lot of the noise and cut a lot of the like anxiety, just to separate like work life from home life because you're in the same space. So it's so hard to separate. But yeah, so we walk the dog twice a day. We have a routine where we bike to go get coffee once a week, which is like an exciting thing that like we both look forward to.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that routine incorporates going outside, because I definitely feel that helps me a lot. Just breaking the walls, just being
Right.
outside of the setting you've been in for hours on end makes you just feel refreshed. So what do you do on the days that you are waking up and you're seeing horrible news after horrible news story? What's something you do to really get yourself back in a healthy mental space?
Oh God, that's a good question. Because it has been like that for so long where you just see terrible thing after terrible thing. Honestly, I had to like disconnect from the news. Like I couldn't stand like watching the news anymore. We haven't had cable for years. And I think that really has helped with like my mental health, just being able to like disassociate from that a little bit. Like I still keep up, but also finding like peace in other things and finding, I try to find, good things about everything else that's going on and things that I'm grateful for. And even in this just like horrible, horrible time, this year has been the weirdest like roller coaster. It just seems so foreign to think that like in January we started out with like the fires in Australia and now like that feels like years ago. But I really, getting outside, talking to friends has really helped, like reconnecting with some of like my childhood friends. We like video chat each other on the time, have like, video chat dates and, wine nights and watch movies together. That has really helped. And just like trying to, be supportive for other people. I thrive in the situation with other people. I like talking to other people. I like hearing how other people are doing. So just checking in with like my friends who I don't regularly see anymore
2020 is definitely, I knew I liked people too, but 2020 has really shown how important human connection is. Like we are meant to connect with people and we'll go crazy. And thankfully we have technology, but it's really not the same. So I think that I've learned to just cherish those relationships so much more than I did before. And it sounds like you kind of are feeling the same way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely feel that. And then just like remembering, like I try to remind myself on a daily basis to like be kind to other people. And I've actually found myself like not getting as frustrated like in traffic and like doing other stuff. Like it's taken a lot of like mental load off to be able to do that, because I just like to remind myself every day that like everyone's emotions are running like so high right now, and everybody's capacity is, on the brink, that one little thing can set somebody off, and that may not be them as a person.
Right.
Uh, but it's just been, you never know what anyone else is going through. Like,
100%. And it makes so much sense when you don't have so much angst just bottled up, you're going to just respond to things so much better. If you come from a state of calmness and a little bit more stable, you can take in what someone else is doing and oftentimes see that it's someone else not feeling good about themselves and that's why they're putting the negativity on you. But you're right, it's definitely a mental practice that I think some days are easier than others, and you just kind of have to take the good with the bad and keep learning. But my last question for you is, do you have any books that you like to read or podcasts? What's a resource that you find has really helped you?
yeah, I mean, I try to seek out like podcasts about everything. Like, I love podcasts. I love hearing about other things. Um, I definitely, been reading a lot during this time. I haven't had much time off. Like, I have been really lucky and I didn't get like laid off or furloughed at all. So I've been working more. But I try to listen to a podcast on a daily basis and really check in. I really like the Empower Her podcast. Um, it's like a motivational podcast for women, but it's like applicable to everybody, and especially for entrepreneurs. Um, Me and my friends have really gotten into that, and we like text each other about it like during the day, and like,
Yeah.
oh, did you listen to this episode? This was like really encouraging. Like, did you? And especially because a lot of my friends are entrepreneurs, like we all kind of own side hustles or different businesses. So it has been really helpful to like hear from like other entrepreneurs and like how to get through this time.
Right. I almost feel like I don't know what I guess music. What did I listen to before podcasts? I just did such a I just feel like it's, it basically is an audiobook in a lot of ways, but I just feel like there's so much information I want to take in and you feel like you're actually learning. Like I've noticed that I'm implementing these things, and especially in this time, we just need that voice of inspiration really. And I'm sorry that this is all really affecting your plans, but I'm happy to see that you're still getting married. It's still going to happen. And, maybe one day we'll understand why this all is unfolding the way it is. But I think a lot of good lessons can come out of bad things. And I'm excited for you. And thank you so much for taking the time. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to what this has been like.
No, thank you. I mean, this has been awesome, and I hope it's helpful for people to understand that like they're not alone.
Right. I'm sure so many people are like, girl, me too. Me too. Well, thank you. I hope you have a great night, and I will talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.